Alright guys, today we're going to focus on two things. We're going to focus on pushing, which is going to be an upper body movement, and then doing some lower body as well, and just working those things in together. We're going to start with some warm-up, and we'll get right into it. So, for the warm-up, we're going to get to a place of support, wall, whatever, something like this, that you can place your hand on. We're going to sweep our legs back and forth. I'm coming inside with that front leg, just looking for some mobility in the hip. And again, you can have your hands on a wall or a counter or whatever. So this one we'll just do 10 on each leg. Coming through as far as we can, out as wide as we can. Not moving our torso with it though. And then once we do side to side, we're also going to do front to back. As far forward, as far back as you can, without moving your torso with it. Alright, then from there we're going to go into a familiar one. We're going to lay on our back, figure four. So here, crossing one leg over the other, bringing that leg above the knee so we can grab behind that knee, pull back toward us, stretching the hip on the side of the leg we aren't grabbing. I'm going to hold it for about 5 seconds, release slightly, and then come back into it another 5 seconds. I'm going to do 3 of these each side. And again, the goal is just to try to rotate that hip on the leg that we're not grabbing, the one that's over top of the knee on the other side. And from there, we're going to come to our feet. We get into a wider stance, wider than shoulder width with our feet. We're going to do a sumo squat into hamstring stretch. So here, nice wide stance, we're going to squat, and then you're going to straighten your legs, stretching hamstrings. Try to keep your back neutral. I want to drive home that point of keeping a neutral back almost always, so that our spine is in a safe position. And I'm holding these stretches about 3 seconds a piece. You're going to do 5 of them. Okay, so we're going to do a push movements and lower body. So we're going to start with the seated dip, just like last time. The closer your feet are to being under your knees, the easier this will be, because you'll be able to use your legs to help out some. And just do as much range of motion as you're comfortable doing. You know, if your elbows or your shoulders act up going too low, don't go that low. We're going to do between 10 and 15 here, whatever's comfortable for you. If the form really starts to break down at 10, then don't go beyond that. Legs straighter out means your legs can help less. It'll be a little more difficult. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to get into a Verb Dog position, which is going to have our hands down and our knees down. And if you have glute bands such as this, you'll want pretty light or extra light probably. You can go ahead and grab those. If not, it's no problem. You should feel this anyway after going through it a few times. So if you do have it, bring it up above your knees. Try to keep it as flat as you can so it doesn't dig in. So hands down, knees down. And we're going to extend this leg back, squeezing that glute there on that side of the leg that's kicking back. And you're going to come out to the side. So again, from this angle, we're kicking back and out to the side. Trying to work glute maximus, glute medius. So we'll do 8 of these. And I'm just going to do all one side before I do the other side. Just easier to stay in that groove. This one's pretty simple, doesn't need a whole ton of explanation. But it isn't super easy, which is why you don't need a lot of resistance from that band if you're using one. If you don't have one, it should still work fine. Alright, like I said, 8 each side there. And we can slide that off. And then quite simply, without equipment, we're just going to move into an option, a variation of a push-up. So what you can do them on the floor. As a basic version, you can do them with your knees down, keeping your hips forward. Do it like that. You can do them elevated on the counter. Counter is better than the stool because you're able to get your hands wider apart. And we want your hands to be chest level when you're down, not shoulder level, so make sure you're coming to the right level. And you can even do it pressed up against the wall. And you might want to doing the dips there as well because they're going to fatigue your triceps and the same sort of muscles as well. So let's go ahead, we're going to do 10 to 15 of the push-ups. Again, if the form breaks down at 10, then don't do more. Want our whole body to stand like a plank the whole time. Nice, solid, stable piece. Alright, and the last thing we're going to do is going to be a little more balance, but it's still going to be lower body. And potentially a little back if you were going to go really heavy with it, but I'm imagining most people won't have that weight or just won't be able to because it's a lot of balance here. So we're going to do a single leg deadlift. So for this one, you're going to balance on one foot. You're going to have one foot off the floor here. Right, just you have your toe down to start. Pull your shoulders back, and we're going to lean forward at the hips. And as I hinge forward at the hips, my leg that is off the ground is going to sweep back. And you can just do this near some base of support, counter or a wall or something. If this is your first time and you're worried about falling over, this planted leg, the knee will be slightly bent. We don't want it to be locked out and hurt our joints. Now as we fall forward, so chest falls forward, our leg rotates back. And we're going to keep this one pretty light on the numbers. We'll do 6 to 8, and only do the good ones. If you find that you're falling over a lot, or just focus on those good ones. Don't worry about the bad ones, and count the good ones. It may take a little longer to get through this one, but that's okay. Try to keep your hips level. Try to control the movement. Keep that speed steady. Like I said, we're going to do 6 to 8 of those. Just count the good ones. Just toss away the bad ones. And that's going to be the circuit there. So seated dips, the bird dog, donkey kick, and hip extension out to the side. Then we're doing the push-ups and finishing with that single leg deadlift. Numbers, the dips we're doing 10 to 15. The bird dog position, we're doing 8 each side, and the push-ups 10 to 15. If the version you picked is too easy, you can always make it a little more difficult, raising your feet. If it's too hard, raise your hands. And then lastly, we're going to do 6 to 8 each side of the single leg deadlifts. Alright guys, if you have any questions, let me know. For now, I'll see you guys later. Thanks.